What's up, everybody? We are here for our very first episode of Fireflies Forever. And to quote a great man, and also to quote someone that we saw last night, we're here. All right, so let's get started. Bring y'all in. So we've got Chris. Chris, how you doing today, my friend?
Doing okay. Last night was emotional, but I'm excited to talk about it with you guys.
Yeah. Likewise, man. We're excited to chat with you about it and get your thoughts and get everyone's thoughts. Joe, how's it going, man?
It's going good. It's going good. I was a little freaked out when I first saw it. When everybody's texting me. Deanna messaged me. She's like, "What did you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got a little freaked out for a second. If she would have turned around and spider walked outside, I probably would have ran out of the house, and my wife wouldn't have known why." So yes, it was amazing. We're going to talk all about this, but it was incredible. Everything I could have expected or wanted. But yeah, man, it's a night to remember, certainly. And to come on this afterwards and talk about it. And I know, of course, Bray and Jody would have absolutely loved it too. So it's great to be here and chat about that. And obviously have Chris with us as well.
Absolutely, man. There are a couple things that I thought last night. Well, this morning when I saw it, because I didn't get to see it last night. When I first looked at it, I was like, I'm willing to bet that this is probably the direction that Bray wanted to go in a long time ago. In terms of the feel of it, it was so dark and just menacing, and that was, I was like, man, this feels great. And then the other part of me was like, man, I wish we could chat with Jody about it and get how she would feel. But I know she's looking from heaven, and her and Bray are probably up there having a good old time and chatting about it. And like, hey, I see how happy people are right now. So, thank you both. And I want to thank the other part of the show, which is everyone in chat. So thank all of you so much for joining us this evening. We have a lot of people. Otherwise, I would call everybody out by name, but we got a lot of people here. So thank you all so much for joining. And because I'm probably not going to remember to do this later, I'm going to do this now. Everyone that's here, please drop a like on the video. And if you don't mind, if you're new and you like what you're hearing and seeing, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell, because you never know when we're going to have future content, when we're going to drop some videos, some, not just lives, but different videos to chat about everything, because let me tell you, we got a lot to talk about. So there's a lot to get to with all of this. But one thing that obviously, we've changed the name of the show, but don't feel like we don't have everyone that's family as a part of it. We actually, I shared the logos, and I'll just give people a peek behind the curtain real quick. I shared the logos with Joe and Chris this morning, and they both picked the same one, and that's the one that you see that we have up. And one of the ways that I wanted to continue to incorporate Jody and keep her memory going is I wanted to have her on the logo, but also represent it in the title. And that's what Chris brought up. You said it far better than I can, Chris. So I'll let you share what you said about the logo and how it looks, and and just the feel of it, and then we'll go from there into our first part of the show.
It's appropriate because it, just like with the Wyatt Sicks, and Bray being that sixth member represented in spirit, and that's how Bo is doing it to keep his memory alive. The four felt very appropriate with the three of us, and it's still Jody's still here, a part of it, and she's the fourth member.
That's right, absolutely right. So I just wanted to give folks an idea of how we came to the logo design. And I will say this: hopefully, you all like the intro. It's going to change a little bit, but hopefully, you all like that. It's a little bit different, but hopefully, you liked it. But yeah, one thing that I want to do every time on this show is really keep those memories alive and talk about memories. And Chris, I know that we have a video that I'm going to play and everything, but I guess I want to start there with just memories. Anything you want to share with the chat and everyone, just feel free and let me know when you're ready for me to play that video.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to share a little bit with you guys of some stuff from the funeral. The video that he's going to show it. I submitted like 250 pictures to the funeral home, and they did this awesome video they put together and play during it, and it ended up, without many pictures, ended up being like 20 minutes long or something. So I just took like a minute long clip out of a part of it I liked that I wanted to share with you guys, and I got a couple other pictures to share from it too. But one thing a story I wanted to tell you guys that happened the night before the funeral. I was hanging out on my back patio with a friend of mine, and we were just kind of talking about, tomorrow, and I was dreading it, obviously, and stuff. And so this was a few weeks ago, and at all of a sudden, I looked behind. My friend was sitting on the patio with me, and it's on inside of a screened porch, and a firefly came and landed on the screen right behind him. And it was a little early. Like the firefly, this is the first firefly I'd seen yet this year. It was a little early for them. They wouldn't normally come out yet. I'm seeing a lot of them now, but a few weeks ago, I hadn't seen any yet. So this was the first one that I had seen. And normally when you see fireflies, you see a bunch of them all at once. This was the only one around. There was no other fireflies anywhere we looked to see. There was no other fireflies anywhere around us, and that was the only one we saw. And it came and landed right there while we were talking, and just kind of hung out there on that screen for a few minutes, and then flew off. And I know that was definitely from Jody.
Yeah.
And that's this picture right here, right, Chris? Okay. Yeah, I was thinking so.
Yeah, I tried to get the best picture I could of it when it lit up.
Yeah. No, wow.
I needed that.
Yeah, for sure.
And since then, another little story is something similar that's happened since then. Last week, I took the kids to the park and had a picnic with my parents, and their kids were playing at the playground. And it's the middle of the day. You don't see them out during the middle of the day. On one of the pieces of playground equipment, me and the kids were all standing around. We saw a firefly on it in the middle of the day, and my oldest daughter, reached down and put her finger by it, and it just crawled right under her finger and just chilled there for a couple minutes like that.
Wow.
So it's incredible that I've already had a couple cool experiences involving fireflies.
Man,
that's really something. Yeah, they're not even easy to trap when you want to, let alone to get them to land on you. That's
it just came right onto her finger as soon as she got close to it.
Wow.
Man. Yeah, that was definitely a visit, Chris.
Yeah.
That was definitely her for sure.
Yeah.
I got a couple comments I want to get to real quick, some super chats. So thank you to everyone who dropped the super chat. I'll get to your comment here shortly, and then we'll play the video right after. The first comment here is from Wild One. The way they pulled it off was absolutely amazing. My mom never watches WWE. I got her to watch this debut. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's very awesome.
Yeah. Deanna, thank you for the super chat saying we got a live action horror movie from writers, producers to Jason, and his work last night was perfect. I can't agree more. It was great. All right. So Chris, you ready for me to play this video?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to share this with you all, and then we'll be back on the other side, folks. All right. Thank Chris. I want to thank you for sharing that with us and the community as a whole.
They did such a good job with that. I had to share part of it. I love what they did. Like I said, it was like 20 minutes long the whole thing, but I just wanted to share part of it with you guys.
Well, thank you so much, man. I know we've kept in contact a good bit. You know, I know things are difficult, and I know that, you know, sharing that meant a lot, and I'm glad that we were able to share that with the community. Yeah. And I'm glad that you entrusted me to put that out there. So thank you so much, man. Mm-hmm. All right. So we're gonna change things up a little bit. So just to let everyone know how we're gonna do the show going forward. We are going to continue to have some music as a part of it. We'll shout out some things that we heard recently that we like. It can even be a new theme song for a wrestler, you know, anything like that. So we'll continue to have music as a part of this show. And the other part that we're going to have as a part of this is the artwork, because that meant a lot to Jody. It means a lot to us. So we want to keep that going. So I didn't share this one yet with Chris or Joe, but I got an addition from Brittany K. And this is one that she worked on from last night. Wow. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Wow, that's amazing. We'll get to how they incorporated the circle, which is I believe it's on every one of them somewhere. The hammer for Ramblin' had it on there on the back. Mm-hmm. So I believe that they're on somewhere. That's brilliant, Brittany. Amazing stuff. I think she's in the chat. I think I saw her.
Yeah, I saw her in the chat. So
I just want to say real quick, welcome to all of you. Because of course there's just so many people out there, but thank you so much. I know Jody would really appreciate that you're all here. I also know that part of the reason, along with the fact that we brought this back, but a big part of it was because we wanted you guys to have this. I know Jody would have wanted it that way. Chris obviously gave his blessing because he felt the same way. You have been with her since the very first day that we started this, way back when. And so, I felt it's only, I know other people are doing things with this out there. Obviously See Wrestling, who's been doing this since the start as well. But it's awesome that you guys came back out and are showing the channel some love and stuff like that. Cause I know Jody would have been so excited to talk to all of you today about all this. So thank you, all of you, for coming out. There's names out there I haven't seen in a while. So really appreciate Eric Rousseau and some others. I haven't seen you guys in a while, and I hope you're all doing well. And we're glad that you're all back.
Yep, that's right. I'm going to put this comment on screen so Chris can see it too. Chris is one of us always. Your family. Yep. Your family, Chris. So, great work by Brittany. Fast work too, because that's pretty fast. All right, so got a couple more to share here.
So this is another one from Brittany that she did for me. This is an actual picture of me and Jody that she did an amazing job on.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah,
she had honestly one of the best smiles I think I've ever seen.
Oh, me and my best friend have talked about that. Like, we can't not pick. Anytime we ever picture her, that's what we think about, is her smiling, just because she always, even no matter what was going on with her, how much pain she was in, she still put a smile on her face. Always.
Yep. Absolutely. I love this picture too.
Yeah. So this was from Nicole. She sent this one to me.
That's brilliant.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Lovely picture. That's what I envisioned when I was watching it last night, honestly.
Me too.
I think that's what they were both doing, watching it together.
Yep.
And I wanted to share a couple more photos that Chris sent over.
those are the first one was some flower. Those are both flowers that got sent to the funeral home. The first one there is from Rob V, and the second one there, and the lantern is from Sea Wrestling.
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
And I still have that lantern. I told him I'm trying to find like a solar candle to put in it. I'm gonna hang it out at her gravesite.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Lovely.
Absolutely. Well, you guys ready to talk about what we got last night?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Let's do that. We've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. But all right. So last night, and here's what I'll say: if you're here, this is probably. There's no point in me even saying this, but if you're here and you haven't seen it,
where have you been?
Yeah.
Where have you been? But two, hit pause on this and go watch the clip. There's a 5-minute clip on YouTube from WWE that basically shows it all, and it was absolutely tremendous. So this is the shot that we got at the end. When the whole group came out. And I want to start out by asking this question. I'll start with you, Chris. I guess my question would be, how did last night line up with your expectations? Did it exceed your expectations, or was this along the lines of what you thought we'd get?
It completely exceeded my expectations and was basically the complete opposite of my expectations. What I had in mind when they, them saying it was going to be a massacre, I really expected that all throughout the night we'd see random attacks and may or may not even see who did it, or maybe there would be a clue left behind who did it. And then maybe at the end of the night, we would see who did all these attacks all night. But yeah, I figured it would be kind of one of those things where just all throughout the night people would be getting attacked and stuff. So it was weird to me that, I went out with a friend last night, so I wasn't able to watch it live. I started watching the West Coast broadcast at 11 o'clock. So it was almost 2 a.m. before I finally got to the end of it and saw the reveal. And I just kept wondering, I'm like, wow, are they really going to save this all the way to the end? I mean, I saw the teases throughout of you saw Ramblin' Rabbit in the locker room, Huskus at one point, yeah. But so I was kind of like, wow, they're not leaving much time for this. It's not what I expected. But then when I saw what they did, I'm like, okay, that works. I was wrong. This way was better.
Do you guys remember the Roman Reigns wreck everyone and leave shirt?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it would have been apropos for Howdy or someone in that group last night to have a shirt on that said "wreck everyone and leave."
Right? They certainly did.
Because that's what they did. It was absolutely tremendous. Same question, Joe. How did this line up with your expectations? Did it exceed them? What were your initial thoughts?
All right, I'm going to add some levity here. Let me paint a picture. Joe is watching his television and switching back and forth between the Celtics game and the broadcast. So I get over, and of course that was the end of the game anyway, close to it. So I went over, and of course I'm enthralled. So now I see that I'm hearing I hear the Bray sound, right? The lights go down, and I'm getting excited, man. I'm like, all right, here we go, all right, here we go. And then all of a sudden I see the door. Now I didn't expect the doorway necessarily, so that was kind of the first surprise because I didn't know they were going to go there. But the door, and I'm like, all right, where are they? Who's coming out? And then I'm watching, and I see this little thing moving in the fog, and I'm like, no, they're not going to do that. And like, no, they're not going to do that. And I see the lantern in the front, and I'm like, oh, no. And I'm like, am I going to need to bolt out of my living room right now? Like, is this what they're going to do to me here to start this? And I see a figure crawling, and I'm like, please don't be upside down. Please don't be upside down. And she wasn't, thankfully. But Nikki crawled over, and someone mentioned right out of the ring, which is one of the movies that terrifies me the most. Right out of the ring with the long black hair, the blacked out eyes. She comes up to the lantern. I'm like, dear God, I'm gonna pass out. But when she got up to the front and I saw her mask and stuff, I mean, in the dress, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, what a way to start. Like, you bring her out of there and the close-ups on her, like, good Lord. I mean, what a perfect way to start. It's Abby, right? And she comes out and then she just stands up and you see the full figure and then she just points to the door and I'm like, oh my, it's like a figure of the Grim Reaper, like pointing at the door.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like terrifying. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't wait to see what else happens here. And then of course they pan to the back and they did it so well. The camera shots were just amazing. Like go from person to person. And then of course you see Rowan in the rabbit mask. And holding up that helps, and of course it brings you right back. It's Ramblin' Rabbit. It's the help thing that Ramblin' used to hold on to. And then you're thinking to yourself, all right, the puppets are coming to life. This is the puppets. There's no doubt about it now. The puppets are coming to life. And then they pan over, and then you see this. Mercy the Buzzard, like perched up on a counter like that. I'm like, oh my God, it's just overlooking like all the damage and everything. Yeah. And then you see the Buzzard. I mean, let me just say, Jason Baker, man, kudos, dude, because this is freaking amazing. They had talked about this years ago. We heard about this from WWE that they wanted to make these characters into, and we'll get to this a little bit later, but oh my God, they couldn't have exceeded my expectations any more than they did. This was a brilliant. We saw the Chad Gable attack, which of course C pointed out in his video, the little CG that I don't think very many people noticed at all, that you knew he was being targeted. Well, they certainly did. But oh my gosh. And then of course, Howdy comes out, the different mask. It wasn't the full face anymore. It's a half almost Phantom of the Opera-ish kind of a mask. The pig boy, I forgot about Huskus. How could I forget? That is almost looks like an old like fireman's helmet with the ventilator and stuff on it. Oh my God, brilliant! Like absolutely brilliant. And then of course Howdy walks out with that half mask with the beard and just kind of prancing through the damage, right? Just walking through like stalking his way, and then he just points to them, come on, and they all walk out. Oh my God, no, they couldn't have done this better. They could not have done this better. The massacre happened, like Chris said. Everything they had wanted to do from the start, and we'll get to our theories and stuff on it later. But no, it exceeded everything I had expected it to be. I'm really glad she didn't spider walk out because I would have been out the door and I would have missed the rest.
Yeah, and you know what? You know how on Thursdays when we do our TNA watch-alongs.
Yes.
If you hear the phrase "say his name" and he appears,
yes,
I believe in Joe Hendry. But say his name and he appears. C Wrestling is in the chat.
Yeah,
so there's C Wrestling. What's up, C? Thank you for joining us, man. Everyone that's come in after we kicked the show off, thank you so much for joining us. We got a lot of people here
a nice crowd,
that are watching. Yeah, nice crowd. So almost 200 people. So thank you all so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it.
He's cursing me already. Look, he said there's always next week for the spider. It's gonna happen. I know at some point it's gonna happen. It probably will be at a pay-per-view or maybe the first time she wrestles. And I'm gonna I don't even know. I'll have to leave for a little bit. I know it's coming. I have no doubt that it's coming.
and C mentioned in his first comment, he talked about how perfect Nikki Cross is for this role. Oh my goodness.
100%.
She was amazing.
100%.
I can't wait to see what's next.
Yep. Yeah. 100%, man. The Bray glove.
Yeah,
I didn't even catch that the first time until I was going through my photos and I blew up the photo and I saw, oh my gosh, it says Bray on the glove. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And we'll get to more of this, but Jeff, there's so many little call outs and little tributes, obviously, to Bray, and even I asked the question, well, who is the Six? We saw the logo. and then everybody's telling me, dummy, it's the lantern, it's Bray.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh man,
Spirit, yeah, in spirit.
Of course it is.
Oh, I love the picture you got there of the glove.
Yes.
I noticed that it was like I was like, he's got the hurt and heel glove on, but then I saw like, no, it says Bray.
Bray,
That's
brilliant,
awesome.
brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. All right, so I know that all of us saw Chad Gable. I know we talked about that a little bit, but Chris, you mentioned something else that happened a little before the show, and I want to give you an opportunity to share that. So if folks want to go and look this up, go check it out.
Yeah, so just about an hour or so ago, I heard that Adam Pearce has totally changed his Twitter, and he changed the name of it to Postman, and changed the picture, the cover picture on it, to a picture of him when he was Postman Pierce in the Funhouse, and he posted that picture 6 times in a row, back to back.
That's phenomenal, dude. Maybe they kidnapped Adam Pearce. Could you imagine?
That was my first thought. I'm like, did they kidnap Adam Pearce and change all his stuff?
Change it to Postman. Could you imagine if he comes back there with them dressed as like a demented postman or something? Oh my god, that's phenomenal, dude. That is phenomenal. Oh my
now will
god.
they bring back Wobbly Walrus though? Is the question.
That's a good question. That's a good question. And I hope the answer is a resounding yes.
Yeah.
Or Friendship Frog. Maybe they'll bring back Friendship Frog too.
Friendship Frog. Yeah.
God.
Yeah, why not, man?
Yeah.
So I think I said this to both of you through text, but I want to get the thoughts of the chat and your guys' thoughts on this too. I feel like what we got last night was incredibly dark.
Mm-hmm.
And not just dark, but I mean, it honestly felt like if you were switching through channels and you had no idea what the WWE was and you turned it on USA at this time last night, you would think, okay, what's this horror show or what's this horror movie that they're playing on USA? So 2-part question here, and I'll start with Joe and then we'll go to Chris. But 1, did you expect it to be that dark? And 2, how dark do you think they can get once they go to Netflix?
Holy cow. No, the backstage stuff, no, I didn't expect. Well, first of all, like I said, the Nikki thing right up front. The fact that she crawled out to listen, all I can say is kudos to the creative team under Triple H. That's all I could say, because under Vince, no, this wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have done it this way. He probably would have said, no, this doesn't look like wrestling. No, we're not doing that. But no, from the time, look, and like Jeff said, if you would have tuned in right when that lantern was on the TV and she was crawling out, yeah, the first word that pops to your mind is what is this horror movie that's on here?
Mm-hmm.
What is on here? And then, of course, they go to the back and they show all these other creatures back there, and then you see Chad with the blood running down his face. Yeah, dude. Like the buttons they're pushing, and now I can understand kind of why. Because I kept saying, why are they waiting until the end of the show? Now I can understand why. Because USA Network has to watch a little bit with that, like how Rock and The Rock and Cody had that bloody moment at the very tail end of the show. They don't want it. They couldn't really probably show that any earlier. But yeah, man, it's dark, and I'm not gonna lie, I love it. And with Netflix, oh my gosh, Netflix isn't gonna care.
Right?
They're basically gonna tell WWE, hey, listen, we have horror films on this channel all the time. So whatever you guys want to do, you cut loose. So, a lot of us thought that the episode of the Funhouse where Alexa Bliss is spitting out that what ended up looking like, it kind of looked like taffy a little bit, right? But could you imagine if they would be allowed to do that now? She would definitely have been having blood running out of her mouth, and that's exciting. It really is. It's super exciting that they're going to let, and I have all the faith in the world of Jason Baker and his team. They are brilliant at what they do. And, if they are working closely with them, and I'd imagine they are, then I have all the faith in the world that this is going to be, this could even get darker than it was. But man, it was, being a horror fan, fantastic. I loved it. I love that they allowed them to do that.
Yeah. And real quick before I get to you, Chris, C saying they did the whole thing in one camera shot as well. I thought the way that they did that, they just took the camera, you saw Nikki, and then as she points, you're following the direction that she points. First person. Love that.
Yep.
Love that. All right, Chris, same questions to you, my friend.
Yeah, I was completely blown away. I mean, I'm just sitting there with my mouth hanging down watching this because, I had this idea in my mind that we were going to see people getting beat up. I didn't expect we were going to see people look like they're dead, like the ladder on the wall and gorilla. Like I was like, that just blew my mind, and the way they did it with Chad Gable too, and then just like that shot of walking in the gorilla and you're seeing lights exploding and sparks flying, like, and the smoke all over the ground. Like, man, they did such a good job with that. I told Jeff this earlier, like, that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in wrestling ever. Mm-hmm. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, it was so well done. And you think about, like what C said, they shot this in one camera angle.
That's crazy.
So imagine what they do when they get more production behind it, when it's not a single shot, when you're cutting from scene to scene, and when you can add some CG in there in different places. This is gonna be wild.
Jeff, the promos and the vignettes are going to be off the charts. They are going to be like little mini movies like we were getting during COVID.
Yep.
Because if they have some, could you imagine if they have some kind of demented funhouse that they're staying in the back or wherever they are filming from, like the filming on this, and now what they can do with these cameras is incredible. And it's this is only the beginning. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Mm-hmm. You're gonna, and the sucky part about it is we got to wait now because they're on Raw. They are Raw people only, so we're not gonna see them until Raw. But Raw is now. If it wasn't before, it's must watch. Raw is now must watch TV, and their ratings are gonna blow up through the roof. Because you don't know when they're going to show, and man, like I said, the promos, oh my gosh, they're going to be tremendous.
Yeah. So I've got to ask this because there have been people. There are two people I'm curious about right now. One we talked about, and I want to get more on your theories in terms of what this means for Chad Gable, because I'll be honest. Dude didn't look too hot when we saw him.
People screwed, dude.
Yeah. But I forget who it was that mentioned it up in the chat. The chat, we got a lot of folks, so it's moving kind of quick. So I apologize. Shout it out if you had this comment. But someone asked the question, did we see the thing with Jey Uso after? And Chris and I were talking about it. We were telling Joe about it. But Jey Uso said, hey, they can have the Fireflies back. I don't want that smoke. It's all good. Like, it's all good. So let me ask you guys this. Basically, given the fact that they wrecked shop and there was a lot of destruction and carnage in their way, is there any significance, you think, to Chad Gable ending up like he did? And do you think there's significance in them going after Jey Uso's victory there? Do you think that that's a possible hint at targets? Is my question. Joe, Chris, I'll start with you and then we'll go to Joe.
Well, I think it's definitely possible that, given the timing of that, and especially him preemptively saying something like that. And I had thought that before, with that happening of him, saying something about taking the Fireflies, they're mine now, or something like that. Like, I definitely thought that it could come back to bite him at some point. So I definitely think we could see that.
Yeah. So, Joe, same question.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm sure that they're gonna start planting seeds as to who they're gonna start going after. Look, we all know the Roman thing, the connection with Roman and Bray, and how he took that title away from Bray, and what he called him a clown in a mask. I'm sure that they are not gonna forget that. Bray always did the storylines like that, where he always remembered things that were said. Now, that wasn't Jey Uso that said it, but Roman is not on the show right now. Now, it could get very interesting when Roman comes back, if he comes back to Raw. Because even though there are rumors saying he's coming back as a face, I honestly don't think that matters with this group. I think they're going to go after anyone who they feels needs to be punished, which is essentially what Bray's thing used to be. He would go after Randy Orton, guy that haunted him in his past, and he feels he needs to be punished. Gable didn't really have any sort of history with Bray, but I think they are going after him because of him being a bully and reminding them, like, all these wrestlers were outcasts. They were outcasts. They were left go. They weren't paid attention to, and now I think they're targeting him because he just did this. He berated that group that he had, and he made them outcasts. And I think that's the reason why, which makes it all the much more interesting because we don't know. We don't know if they're going to be heels. We don't know if they're going to be faces, or we don't know if they're not going to be anything, because Bray was never really classified. Bray could go after a guy like Bryan Danielson one day, or he can go after someone who is a heel. So I don't think it's going to matter. I think it just better you better be sure you don't have, like, Jey Uso saying that the Fireflies are his now I think is really going to come back to bite him in the butt.
Yeah, it might it might come back to bite him. Hanzo, what's up? Said, sorry I'm late, folks. Just got back from a funeral service. Unfortunately, his name was Chad Gable.
That is all over the internet. There are RIP things all over the internet about Chad Gable, which it's really funny.
Wild, yeah, it's wild. So there are two comments that I want to get to here. There are a lot of comments that I want to get to, but these two for sure. So Derek says maybe what we saw was alluding to what was to come, what is to come. Maybe last night wasn't actually real, but it's a hint as to what's to come for Gable and others. What do you guys think about that? I'll start with Joe, and then we'll get Chris's thoughts on that.
Well, I'm sorry, Jeff. Word the question again one more time. My bad.
So Derek's comment was maybe what we saw is alluding to what's to come. Maybe last night wasn't actually real, but it's a hint as to what's to come for Gable and others. So kind of playing on the reality of it all. Like, did we really see what we saw?
I like that. Actually, it's funny because earlier this afternoon when I was watching it back again, I was kind of wondering, I was thinking a little bit of the same thing. And I'm thinking, did that really see? You always have to wonder because the stuff with Bray that happened backstage in the Funhouse, now we all know that was inside his mind. That was what Jason Baker said and others have said. So we don't know. Could this be that this was in the mind of Howdy and somehow we're seeing what he thinks he sees and stuff like that? The only way we're going to find that out is next week on Raw. If Chad Gable shows up like nothing absolutely happened, then you're going to kind of realize, okay, but that's part of the fun. That's a great comment and very, very possibly true because it could indeed be that this look. It's a lot of psychological warfare here. It's a lot of mind games and a lot of things like that. And maybe that little thing, that whole massacre that they talked about, maybe that never came to be. Maybe it was, like Hanzo said, like a premonition, maybe something to come, and maybe you're seeing inside of their mind. Who knows? There's so many ways they could play that with Nikki coming out and then the smoke rising up, and maybe after the smoke, and then you're following her into what is inside of her mind. Maybe there's a lot of ways they can go with that, but it's brilliant storytelling because then you're going into similar to what Bray did. Again, you're tributizing what he did. That backstage area, it was not. It was inside Bray's mind. So yeah, I love it. I think that's a great comment.
Yeah, I really love that comment, Chris. I want to get your thoughts, and then I have a kind of a follow up to that. But Chris, I want to get your thoughts on Derek's comment.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting thought. It's something I hadn't considered yet. Like Joe was saying, that's definitely a possibility. It's not like we haven't seen anything like that before when it comes to Bray. We saw stuff that was in his head, so it's very possible that could have been the case here.
Yeah,
we'll have to wait and see to find out. But yeah, that definitely could be.
Which sucks because now that we've gotten a taste of it, now we want more.
Yeah,
I know, right? All this big stuff that led up to this, and you're like, oh my God, when do I see it again? You have to wait for the following week. And it's like, dude.
I saw something really interesting on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw. Somebody pointed out that 5 years ago to the day yesterday was when Bray gave a promo in the Funhouse about I can't remember exactly what he said. Something about people about following a leader. I can't remember exactly what the rest of it was, but like it was really interesting that came. And then here comes Howdy as a leader of the Wyatt Sicks now. 5 years to the day that Bray said to follow the leader.
Yeah. Wow.
Crazy.
That is. Wow. That's deep. Deese, this I feel like this is a great comment here too. Is key how the group will be viewed with the next time we see Chad Gable, in my opinion. And I've seen some people say, is this a supernatural group? Is this like a slasher kind of group? What is it? So I guess I want to get your thoughts on that. And I'll start with Chris this time. Do you think it's really important that they nail how Chad Gable is seen the next time we see him on screen? And do you think this is more of a supernatural thing? Do you think this is just like almost like a play on Devil's Rejects? Do you think it's something like that? Where are you leaning right now, and how you think this is going to play out?
Yeah, I do think that's probably pretty important to see because obviously, we saw him bleeding from the side of his head, so he got pretty messed up. So what happens next is I think it's definitely gonna be important. Is he okay? Is he like have his head taped up the next time we see him or something like that? They like we just talked about, they could go a lot of different ways with it. I love the idea of them being like a Devil's Reject kind of a vibe. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, with the spiritual influence and inspiration of Bray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joe.
I saw something about someone saying that this wasn't going to be supernatural, but I didn't buy that from the start because how can you not? Maybe not all the way, or maybe not as much as Bray, but there was always some supernatural elements to Bray throughout. So how could it not be? And kudos to Triple H, with this. I feel like he is letting Bo do what he wants to do, what he feels is going to honor his brother the best. And so I'm so happy to see that, it's obvious he's fully on board with this and the direction they want to go and honoring Bray. I don't know if anybody you guys saw that Triple H right after actually tweeted out a picture of Bray right after.
Yeah, I did see that. Yep.
Yeah. Jason saying, "What's good, y'all? New subscriber." Well, welcome, Jason. Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Welcome. We're going to be doing this every week. So, and at the end of this show, we'll go over all the other stuff that we do in case you're new. So, I gotta ask this too, because I feel like how long do you think it'll be before we figure out who the targets are, or is it just fair game? Anybody in the locker room can get it. Just a free for all at this point. And I'll start with Joe this time.
I think as far as targets go, I mean, obviously we know we're pretty sure we know who the first one is. A lot of the chat is talking about the supernatural thing. I read that too. That was on the dirt sheets. And like I always say, be careful of what the dirt sheets say, because I don't really think they're going to let a lot of it leak. So just be careful of what you're listening to. And you know, just so you all know, we're going to go through this again, because every time that Bray would come back, all you're going to see are the so-called critics and the supernatural people, haters out there that are going to come into fruition, because this is what they do. They like to post hateful stuff and stuff that gets people riled up for no reason whatsoever. So you just enjoy the ride and don't even worry about what those morons are saying. As far as targets, so going back to the supernatural thing for just 1 second, I don't think it's going to be. I think the backstage stuff could be where the supernatural stuff comes from, kind of like Bray did in the Funhouse. And the wrestling, I don't think will be. The wrestling is, I think, just going to be these big hulking dudes with beards coming out, just like they did when it was Rowan and you know, when all those guys, and Braun was there and all those guys were wrestling. I think that's what you're going to see in the ring. I don't think you'll see supernatural stuff going on in the ring. Maybe the entrance might look a little scary and stuff like that for them. But I do believe it'll be rooted in reality. It kind of has to be as far as the wrestling goes. But we definitely will see, and I mentioned earlier, the vignettes. I do believe anything they do, like a vignette or something, will definitely have a lot of supernatural elements to it. It has to. It just has to. This is what Bray did. So, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right, Chris, same question to you, man.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that I don't think it matters so much that we find out right away who the targets are. I mean, think back to how The Fiend was. I mean, you never knew week to week who he was going to attack. He attacked one person 1 week, and the next week come out and attack somebody different. We never even found out why or anything, and until much later with some of them. But some of them, I don't even think we ever did find out why. So I don't think that matters so much. I think just the fact that they're just showing their dominance and that they can be a threat, and actually, I think it's scarier that way. There may be no rhyme or reason to who gets attacked or why, and then everyone just needs to be scared.
Yeah, pull the whole strangers kind of deal with them, saying why did you go after us? Because you were here.
Because you happen to be here. Yep.
Because you were here. That's why.
Yeah.
Can I add one quick thing too, Jeff?
Absolutely.
So I want you guys all in the chat to know this. You know, let's not be concerned about the future so quickly. We were waiting so long for this, and we're all excited to see what's going forward. But let's just enjoy it for what it is. Don't concern yourself with titles and belts and all that kind of stuff, because honestly, guys, this doesn't necessarily lead to that. I don't think their story is to come in here and get belts. It doesn't matter, and it shouldn't. So don't concern yourself. I saw that out on Twitter now, and when's Howdy going to get a title, or when are these guys going to? That is meaningless. We all saw what happened when they gave Bray the title. It wasn't exactly a great thing. Then all of a sudden they're in the spotlight, and then you get these goofy matchups, and then that's what. So if I'm you guys, I'd want them to be as far from any sort of title picture as they could possibly be. Let that be a different thing. And let this just go. No, right there. They don't need titles, and in this particular type of character, they don't need. Look how long the Undertaker went before he won a title.
I was just about to bring up the Undertaker, and I was gonna say, if you're a newer fan to wrestling, if your assumption is that the Undertaker had like 15 title reigns, that would not be correct. I think he had 6.
Yeah.
Because
really he would have been fine with none. Like
exactly,
he didn't ever need to have a title.
Exactly, because I feel like these types of characters, these types of gimmicks, whatever you want to call it, don't need a title. I don't even think they need to be in the title picture per se. Yeah. Let them wreak havoc all over the rest of the roster, because if used appropriately, this group can elevate people on the lower card if done appropriately. And I think that might be a part of it too. As that maybe they start to, when they attack people, some of those people get elevated. All right, now I got to throw this out there because Derek knows.
Look what it did for LA Knight after
Exactly.
Bray attacked him.
Exactly. I mean, he sent him to the stratosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Derek is going after our fantasy booking hearts here, saying, I'm jumping the gun, but do we see them cross over to Meet Decay? Oh my gosh.
Could you imagine? If I would ever see a Nikki Cross match against Rosemary, I might pass out. I mean, Derek's, look, I mean, Derek, you're not far from reality in what we're seeing. I mean, we may get more of that tonight on NXT. If Joe Hendry shows up tonight on NXT, all bets are off. And there was Derek shared with me an article where Anthem, the parent company of TNA, has basically entered into some sort of partnership with WWE. So this isn't stopping. This isn't going away. Just like my dog isn't stopping barking. But yeah, this is not going away. So he may not be very far from the truth here. Guys, give me 1 second. I will go answer that, and I will be right back.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, Chris, would you like to see them cross over against Decay or someone in TNA or at some point, or would you rather see them kind of handle business first in WWE?
Just very recently getting into TNA, so I'm not really familiar with who that is, but I like, a lot of what's gotten me interested in TNA has been the crossover stuff with NXT because I love NXT so much. So I'm all about, I want to see anything and everything. I think it's so cool to see two wrestling companies actually work together because, it's one of those taboo things for so long. Everybody's just mortal enemies growing up in the Monday Night Wars and everything. Like that just doesn't happen. So it's been awesome to see what we have seen already, and I want to see more of it. So bring it on.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Question for both of you. Alexa Bliss Gamer 0809 saying, do you think Miss Bliss gets involved when she returns? I'll start with Joe and then we'll go to Chris.
I know everybody wants that so much. I know there are so many fans in this channel that have their namesake of YouTube after her. I hate to be the one to put a downer on anything for anybody. Listen, anything is possible. Anything is possible in wrestling. She certainly could. I don't know. I can't really say yes or no. I'm leaning no. But in that respect, like you have the Wyatt Sicks, obviously Bray is represented in that. So that would tell you that they're done. They have who they have. I would have said that the character I would have wanted Alexa to represent is the one that Nikki is representing. So I kind of want to say I don't think so. I think just like Braun Strowman, so many people figured Braun Strowman would be in this for sure. But I do believe that there could be underlining reasons why. For Braun and for Alexa, they were both, look, no one's as close to Bray as his brother. And so for I feel deep down that for Bo to do this, while I know he's tributizing Bray, I know there's still some part of him that hurts a little every time he does this. And so maybe for Braun and for Alexa, it was too much. And maybe they were both asked, but they have both said, I'm sorry, I'd love to, but I can't. Braun was super close to Bray. So you would think that if the offer was presented to him, that he would have dove in head first. But I do believe, and Alexa too, I think that maybe they might just be like, I don't know if I can. Mm-hmm. And I think Alexa, I'm sure Alexa's friends with Nikki in the back. And Alexa probably said, hey, you go do this. I think you're perfect for this. You've got the look, you've got everything there is to do. You go do this. But that said, who knows? Wrestling, you can have anything happen. But if I had to guess, when Alexa comes back, at first, I don't think so. I think she's just going to come back as Alexa Bliss.
Gotcha. Chris, what about you, man?
That's what I think too. And honestly, I think that especially at this point, with it being, so new, I think that Alexa might overshadow the Wyatt Sicks right now. I want to see more of building these guys up. I mean, Dexter Lumis, we've barely seen much of him outside of NXT, and obviously we've never seen Joe Gacy outside of NXT. So I want to see them have a good build up and make names for themselves before they get surrounded by, nothing against Alexa Bliss. I love Alexa Bliss, but she would overshadow them. She's a big name. A lot of people love her, and I don't think it needs it right now. Maybe that's part of the reason why they're not doing it yet. Like you said, I could see it down the road maybe, and that happening. But for right now, I don't think so, and I don't think it needs it. I think from what I saw last night, I think it's great as is, and I don't think it needs Alexa right now.
Yeah,
that's a great point he made. Overshadowing is the key, because you guys imagine, right? If Nikki ends up starting to wrestle as this character in matches, and Alexa comes along, who would you be paying attention to? Mm-hmm. Would you be paying attention to Nikki, or more to Alexa? So I would agree. I think that
honestly, I'd like to see Alexa Bliss how she was years ago. Maybe have another women's title run or something. She was awesome at that. So I'm hoping she comes back and just is maybe her normal self again for a while.
Yeah. Agreed. I think so too.
Just to add my 2 cents, I think that, and maybe I'm on an island by myself here, but I think at this point with this story, Alexa would make a better foe than friend to the group. And the reason I say that is because if we think back, Alexa and Nikki had a falling out. They had beef. So again, and my device is talking to me right now because I said Alexa. So but I think that those two going up against each other might be really good, because let's say she returns and she's the darker version of herself, but when she encounters Nikki, to your point, Chris, she goes back to the beginning and she's that character once again. I think there are a lot of ways that you could position her returning and having some type of involvement with the group, but I don't think it's right away. To Chris's point, I think that her returning, so many people have been looking forward to her returning. She's been gone a while, so she's going to get those headlines. She's going to get, out there on social media, that kind of thing. And I think this group, in order for it to be successful, I think long term, is really about establishing who they are, what their motives are, and how dominant they can be. That just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. And Alexa, look, you can almost write that off as whether, Howdy was kind of trying to get in her head a little bit when he was here. And you could just say that now, hey, maybe she's a target because she rejected him. Mm-hmm. So you can always play that angle. And look, we've seen amazing matches in the past between Nikki and Alexa. So that would be phenomenal. If that's what we got. So I agree. Yep. Yeah,
I would be totally fine with those two wrestling, and Howdy still trying to play those mind games from afar, and still trying to get in their head a little bit. So I guess so. We'll start to wrap up the episode, but wow, this was a lot of fun. We got a ton of people here.
I know, right?
So thank you all so much for joining us and joining in the conversation. I did have to share this because, one of the things, Chris and Joe, when you get a new group, what happens? The company just has to put out merch, right?
Oh, yes, they do. And there is a bunch.
So I'll go through a little bit of that right now. But I mean, I got to be honest. I got to have at least one of these shirts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one to buy. I like the one with all of them on there, but I like the logo and stuff too. I didn't know which one to get when I was looking through last night. I'm getting one, but oh man,
I really like that they incorporate. Now we see what the Pluto logo was all about and all the QR
and the bird.
Yeah, and the bird.
Yeah,
exactly.
I like how it's called Six. True. Look, there's meaning behind that. Wyatt Sicks, they were seeing a psychologist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Six, S-I-C-K, all of them have something wrong with them. There's something going on up there. And that's, I think, where they came with it. This is interesting, too, the Wyatt, but with only one T. You got a W-Y-A-T, like is the other T in the middle. I think the other T might be the middle of it, I guess, right? Yeah, okay. They look so amazing. Like I said, oh my God, they're gonna
the one too that says "Let us in" with the six.
Oh, brilliant! With the six, so cool. Guys, get your wallets ready. Is all I'm going to tell you, because I already said before the show, you know damn well that they're going to make replicas of every one of those masks, every darn one. And figures and all this and these. Oh my God! Just get your wallet ready. I'm telling you, this is just the start. Remember when Bray came back and we got a few T-shirts and then all of a sudden, boom, and then all the glut of merchandise every other week. Oh my God!
Open.
Oh my God! Yeah. I mean, brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I love the. I think I might get the figures one. I love that shot with them all in the dark and you can't really see them and all that kind of stuff. And Howdy's face in blue. I really love that shot.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. James Chadwick has a great comment here. Alexa comes back normal. Nikki goes after her because what Alexa did to Bray at Mania 37. Feud last a while, and in the blowout match, Nikki versus Alexa. If Nikki wins, Alexa is forced to join the group. I like that.
I like that.
James Grant saying, I think some of the targets are people who betrayed some people. Gable betrayed the Alpha Academy.
Did?
Yep.
Better see at some point them going after Randy Orton too, because he needs some payback coming to him.
Randy better stay over on SmackDown for a little bit. It's funny how it all works out, and this is why I really love the whole Triple H creative right now, because they're thinking ahead, and this could be Rob Fee that's thinking ahead, but Cody and Randy both on SmackDown, they avoid both of them, which is very smart, because now unless Randy is moved or unless there's a mixed pay-per-view or something somewhere down the line, Randy won't get touched. And the same thing with Cody being down there. So I like that, because in the future, that gives you storylines where you can bring them, you can switch them out, you can put somebody else on another show. But yeah, I like that. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Hey, Tazzy.
Tazzy's in the house. What's up, Tazzy? And by the way, it is Tuesday, so that means it's NXT night. So go over to Tazzy's channel here shortly and watch NXT. It's been pretty dang awesome. So keep watching.
They're kicking off the show with the Battle Royal too.
Yeah.
Say his name and he appears, guys.
I believe it may happen tonight. So
did you see he bought a billboard over in Scotland with his face on there?
Yeah.
Look, dude, I'm telling you, man, if Joe Hendry shows up tonight, oh man, I'll definitely be watching for sure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Do we think they use Shatter as their theme? I would imagine so. I mean, we heard part of it, so I would think so.
I had the opposite thought though.
What do you think they're doing something else?
I think that they did that as a way. Don't be surprised, and maybe I'm going way down a rabbit hole here, but don't be surprised if the music in some way ties to the lantern. Because if you really think about it, last night they didn't elaborate, they didn't play like much of the song. It was really just that first intro part over and over again.
It's true.
So I think the song and the lantern, I think all of that's tied somehow.
Jeff.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No. Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I wasn't, not knowing what to expect, and then when I heard, the song and the door and everything, I was like, I thought about it for a minute, and it made sense. I should have seen it sooner, because think about all the stuff we've seen, how much it mirrored the White Rabbit stuff with the QR codes and the songs they were playing in the arena. So it's fitting that it started out just the way Bray came back with the door and that song and stuff. So, but I had the same thought as you, Jeff. I don't see them. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think they'll use Shatter. I think they just used it because of it keeping the theme of that last night. But
yeah.
He could have. I'm sure Code Orange would certainly compose them a different song.
Yeah,
no doubt about that. What I was going to say really quickly is, you got me thinking, Chris, about that lantern. Imagine, Jeff, if they used that lantern similar to how the Undertaker was. Yep. And imagine if that lantern is the power behind these characters. And if that lantern somehow is not there, or gets blown out or unlit, that they lose all of their sort of, if we're going to go a little supernatural, this would maybe be a way to go, like the Undertaker used to, where, of course, Paul Bearer with that lantern. And if that really, really, and something like that happened to the lantern, maybe they would lose it. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I thought that too, especially when he kind of like held the lantern up. He kind of almost even looked up too before he said we're here, and then blew it out. Like the way, just the way he was holding it, stuff. It felt. I got that vibe of like it's a power thing. Like, Bray's spirit is in that lantern.
Absolutely. C says, you guys really, and I know it wasn't exactly planned, picked an awesome time to start this show. I hope you're doing as good as possible. Chris, remember, I'm always a DM away. Thank you, C.
Thank you, C.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, this was a fun and very a very packed episode one.
It really was.
One of many, though. So stay tuned, folks, because we got a lot coming. We got there's a lot to dig into with the storyline. So just know we'll be doing some stuff, overall on the channel, and we'll be here every week. But yeah, so Joe, I want to turn it over to you. Any final thoughts, and then we'll end with Chris with any final thoughts, and then we'll get out of here for this week.
Like Jeff said, this is a journey, and of course, there was no other thought on with me that this wouldn't have been the best way to tribute both, of course, Bray and Jody. I know that this meant a lot to her, and I know that Jeff and Jody did such a tremendous job for so long, holding this together when Bray was gone, when he wasn't involved in wrestling and stuff like that. And it's very difficult to do that. And I will always give them kudos for doing that and keeping this show alive when this show may have not have even been here. So yeah, there's no better way to do that than this. And this, guys, is going to be, like Jeff said, it's going to be a journey. They're going to take us on a journey that is going to be an amazing journey to go on. And how many of us just thought to ourselves that we'd never see this again? That once Bray passed, well, that's it. Mm-hmm. Well, it's back, and I'm just ready for whatever they're going to give us.
Yep.
All right, Chris.
I just want to say thank you to everybody for not only coming out and watching the show tonight, but I've received so much love from the community this past month. I really appreciate it. You guys will never know how much it means to me, dealing with all this. And I hope that I can, keep carrying on Jodie's legacy for everybody, and that she will never be forgotten.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna start by saying, Chris, you did a fabulous job, and
thank you.
This was a lot of fun, man, and I'm really looking forward to us doing this every week, and just breaking down theories and fantasy booking and doing all that good stuff. So yeah, this was tremendous, and thank you, Chris. Thank you. I want to thank you for again, sharing the stories that you did, sharing the videos, sharing the photos, Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate you, man. And like a lot of people have said, and I say this probably every time we talk. I'm here for you. Continuing to pray for you and the family, man. And just know that we're here for you. So for the rest of this week, just to let everyone know, we will be back Thursday for TNA, coming off of what was a fantastic pay-per-view. I felt Against All Odds, I thought was really good, and we'll get the follow-up to that. Chris, like he said, has been checking out TNA, and maybe 1 week he'll join us on screen for the watch along, to watch with us. But TNA's been really good, really, really good. And
Jeff Hardy, baby.
Jeff Hardy is there.
Yeah, Against All Odds was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy has returned to TNA. So, Brother Nero, we knew you'd come. He did. Matt Hardy. I'll say this: if you haven't watched TNA in a while, or you've never watched it, do yourself a favor. Get the app if you can. Go back and watch last Thursday's episode. The inclusion of the Hardy compound.
Oh,
you want to talk about something wild? That was wild too. I mean, we got a werewolf transformation on a wrestling show. You know what I'm saying? So it was pretty cool.
And I don't know if anybody else noticed this. The song that they played during that werewolf part, Bray used in one of his promos. I can't remember which one, but I instantly heard it. I'm like, I know I've heard that in a Bray promo before.
Yep. It was all I'm trying to think of. I knew I had heard that before. I was trying to figure out where, and I'm gonna find it. I'll find the promo.
I tried to find it the other day and I couldn't. I cannot remember which one it was from.
Man. Yeah,
let me know, because that's been driving me crazy.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. So as soon as we get done, I'm going to also send you some links for Decay.
Okay. Cool.
And Crazy Steve, Crazy Steve's most recent run there, the mask and everything. Man, I'll send you some links. But yeah,
I went the other day, and I definitely like Joe Hendry. I went and listened to all his songs that he's done.
He's so good.
I was cracking up listening to some of those songs he's done.
So good. So good. Yeah, if you're not on that TNA train, guys, you really need to do so. We don't know what's going to happen tonight on NXT, but it doesn't look like that's ending anytime soon. So come out, check it out. We've been doing that for 4 years, just as long as that we've been doing this show.
Yeah.
So come out, jump on that train, and come out and check out the show with us, because it's tremendous. It's really, really good.
Yeah, and then you'll get the inside joke of what Johnny Bates is talking about: traps of booby.
Traps of booby. That is very true.
So, and Heather, that's a great question. I don't know where the heck Crazy Steve is, but darn it, we need him back on TV immediately.
Agreed.
Well, folks, thank you all so much. Joe and Chris, thank you guys so much for the chat. And like I said, really enjoyed this episode. Looking forward to many, many more. So thank you guys so much. Everyone in the chat, we love you. We appreciate you so much. Thank you all so much for your support and checking out this first episode. And drop a like on the video.
Drop a like, give us some comments. If there's anything you would like to see on the show going forward, or anything you'd like to hear about on the show going forward, leave us some comments. I always make sure to check those out. So leave us some comments and stuff like that. We always love to hear from you guys. You're the reason why we do this. And so, let us know if there's anything out there that you'd like to hear us talk about.
That's right. That's right. All right, folks. We'll see you next time on Fireflies Forever. But again, if you want to check out TNA, we'll be here Thursday. So come check us out. 8:00 Thursday evening. We'll see you next time, folks. Take care and have a good rest of your day.